Hi everyone, I'm the plant propagator and welcome to my channel. Today I want to share with you some of the blooms on my orchids, and I've got a lot of orchids that are blooming and I have a lot more coming, so I'm just trying to keep up. I want to share and I want to tell you some stories that are associated with some of the orchids, not all of them. Some of the orchids that I have, the stories are not very good, or I just bought them from a vendor and they've been doing well. But then some of the orchids have stories behind them. And so I want to share kind of a full range of things, and I want to share the blooms with you also. So I've got like I said, I've got a lot blooming. I've got my dendrobiums that are mostly what's up and behind me here. Those are doing really well. Some of the dens that I have are like always blooming. When the plants get big, they do put out a lot of bloom spikes. So I've got a den right here, and it might be hard to see, but there are two blooms coming out of this den. There's more that are up in the bougainvillea back there that are blooming, and this is the same. I think this is a NoID Dendrobium, and I think this is the same dendrobium that I have on my date palm. This is a big plant. The one that I have growing on my date palm in front of my house is a big plant, and I think I counted the one in the front of my house, and I think there are like 9 bloom spikes on it. There's only a few that are open right now, but it just all of these things, they make the bloom spikes, and then one spike flowers and another one flowers, and it just kind of keeps on going. My phals that are, I don't have that many of them, but the ones that I do have, this time of the year, they're all putting out bloom spikes, and I'll share some of those with you later. I don't think any of them open. I got one behind my shed that's close, but they're all going to probably be open close to the same time, so I might have a phal specific video. But let me share some with you that I know what they are. I only have three that I want to share with you that I think are special, and there's a little story behind them. So I showed this to you last time before it was fully open, but this is pastoral, and the cultivar on this is Innocence, and this is an old large white Cattleyas. Beautiful flower, fairly large. I think the blooms are probably, it looks like they go probably around 6-7 inches across. Really fragrant, white. And a nice yellow throat to it. Really frilly. And this is one of my oldest orchids. I've had this for a while. I got it from one of the local vendors here in Southwest Florida. And this blooms pretty consistently. The last time that it bloomed, I crossed it, and I got capsule out of it, I got seeds out of it, and those seedlings are growing in the laboratory. And I'm probably going to cross this one after the video today. I'm going to take the Palladia out and cross. I think I'm going to cross one of my spotty Cattleyas onto this. Actually, I might cross one onto this and a different spotty Cattleya onto this one. And it's a good parent, and we'll see how it goes. Now, I harvested the capsule off of this not that long ago, so maybe there would have been more blooms if I wouldn't let the capsule form. But it didn't seem to negatively impact this plant. This is a smaller plant because I've divided it, and I usually give pieces away. But a nice plant, it will get big, and it has gotten big. But for right now, this is not a big plant. The bloom, I don't know if you can tell, the bloom, it kind of has gone down a little bit, and if I'd have caught this earlier and it would have been in time to bring into a meeting, I probably would have staked this up. But it's pretty solid, so this isn't cracked, it's not wobbly. So this is in pretty good shape, and hopefully this can handle a capsule as I pollinate it. I don't think that I'm going to get 2 successful pollinations. Hopefully I'll get 1 out of it. If I don't, that's fine too. But anyway, this is just a really nice, large, white, and I didn't even need to bring it towards my nose. I could smell it from here. So just a classical, nice Cattleya fragrance. So just a nice plant. And again, this is Pastoral Innocence. It's an old variety. So I think probably some of you that have been in the orchid world for a long time are familiar with it. Okay, moving on a little bit. This is actually all the orchids I'm sharing with you are pretty old. This is Jamaica Red right here, a small flowering Cattleya here. This bloom spike has, it looks like 5 flowers on it. Sometimes there's 3, sometimes there's 2, sometimes there's 6, but there's a lot of blooms coming out on this plant. This is one of those Cattleyas when it puts out a new bloom spike. And then it flowers, and it happens periodically. So this is pretty much ever blooming, this plant. There's no fragrance associated with it, but it has really nice, intense red, small flowers. So what I like it is that it's always blooming. It always puts on a show. So and the individual flowers, when you take a close look at them, they are really beautiful. They're really nice. The intensity of the red coloration in here is striking. One of the things that you may or may not be able to see on this is I've got some tags and I've got some capsules that are forming. So I cross these, as you might imagine, with larger flowering Cattleyas. And I've tried crossing this in the past, and I haven't been successful. There hasn't been a cat, but I've got 2 capsules forming on this, and I may or may not. I think what I'm gonna do is wait to see how these capsules go. These were pollinated 2 months ago, so it's still got 2 to 4 more months before I'll harvest these capsules. So let's see how they go. I may make additional crosses. It flowers all the time, so I've got a lot of options. Anyway, there's a little bit of story behind this. So this was a gift. I have a lot of orchids that were gifted to me, but I also have a lot of orchids that I gift to other people. And this was gifted to me by Tom down the street, who had not too many, but had a few orchids, selling his house, moving out of the neighborhood, and knew that I liked orchids and decided to gift this to me, and I'm happy he did. I actually have this for the most of the time. I have this hanging on the date palm tree in front of my house, and it seems to do really well there and like it. As far as potting mix that's in here, this is just in a basket. And there's no, I don't see a pot in there. This is just a root mass that is shoved into this basket. So, and then I think it likes to stay dry. It does get fertilized and watered, but seems to like where it is, and it seems to be doing pretty well. Okay, so this is Jamaica Red right here. The last one that I want to show you is right here. And this is, let me grab it, bring it forward. This is my oldest orchid. So this is Momani Rainbow, and from the size of it, you can't tell that it's my oldest orchid, but it actually is. I've had this in my collection for the longest time, and I had this this was gifted to me when I was still at the university in the Midwest US. And what happened, there is a story behind it, and I'm sorry, I need to share it with you. So this was gifted to me by an orchid person who was trying his success at breeding. And what that means is he had some capsules and orchid seed capsules, and he needed a laboratory. You can do this at home, but it's much nicer to have a nice laboratory to work in. And my old university laboratory was really nice. I had a lot of hoods that were nice hoods. They were left on all the time. The air recirculated in the room. It was a very clean environment. I had light shells in there. I had scopes. It was just a nice, really nice facility. And he contacted me, this guy contacted me, and he said, can I come to your lab and do some flasking? And at the time, it's like, can you do what? And he explained to me what he did and what he wanted to do. And I said, yeah, sure, come on in. I have to be there when you're doing this, but I want to show you how we do it in the laboratory, but come on in. So he came in and he had capsules, and he knew how to do this a little bit, but I helped him with the sterilization and the plating. And he had all of his own media, and he said, what do you want for this? He came into my laboratory. He says, what do you want for this? And I said, I don't know, a flask. So he did leave me a flask. He left it in the laboratory. That's not where this came from. As a follow-up, he was so happy to come into the laboratory, and that I allowed him to come into the laboratory, which was not a big deal, and that he just was able to do everything that he wanted to do, and that I helped him out so much because it was the main thing that I do. And on a follow-up trip, he just brought me Momani Rainbow, and he gifted it to me. Now, it was my first orchid, and I didn't know how to grow them. I didn't know how to deal with them, so I looked them up, and I grew this, and then I grew this for many, many years, and I learned how to divide it, and I divided it, and then because I had it so many years, I divided it again, and more years, I divided it again, and I probably at one point, when I was still in the Midwest, I think I had 10 of them, and then I just started gifting them. I started giving them away. And then when I retired and came here to Southwest Florida, of course, I brought it down. The Momani Rainbow loves being in Florida. And it's doing really well. I think the last time I looked here, and again, it's because this was a gift to me, and so I'm passing it forward. So I've gifted my Momani Rainbow plants to other people locally, and so I think I only have 3 of these right now. This is blooming. I've got one of my plants is in spike, and another one is small. But it's a really nice. It's a little bit of a small flower. I think it probably is listed in the large Cattleyas category, even though the flower is not that big. But this is a cross with it. It has orange nugget as one of the parents. So depending on how much light it's getting and what the environmental conditions are, sometimes you get a little bit more yellow or orange in the petals of this plant, and also in the throat. So sometimes you get a little bit more yellowish to orange coloration there. Again, depending on environmental conditions. But this plant likes it. It's doing really well here. It grows. It grows like a weed. It grows like crazy. This is an old hybrid, and at the time, I think, when this plant was popular, it was just produced like crazy, and there's so many of them. And this guy that did the flasking in my laboratory in the Midwest, he might have had so many of them and they were so common that he said, here. Now we're at the point where they're not as common anymore. I still like this. I use it in my crosses. Some of my first hybrids have used Momani Rainbow, and this plant's doing well. And if this plant does well under my local conditions, I'm hoping that the hybrids that I make from this will also do well. And what I do is I tend to cross this with some of the bigger flowers or some different colors or flaring or something like that. So we'll see what I don't have any progeny blooming yet, but soon some of the progeny plants of this are big enough so that they'll probably be blooming in a year, maybe 2 at the most. All right, so anyway, Momani Rainbow. Right now it's got, so all it has is, that I can see, is nothing there, nothing there. Is three bloom spikes. Each of the bloom spikes has a couple of flowers. Yikes, it was getting a little tiring holding that up. Okay, so Again, what I wanted to do is share with you a few of my orchids. Two of them were gifts, and the history behind it, and that's what makes this so much fun. I mean, I like going to the stores, I like going to the vendors and buying those, but I also like my orchid friends, and I like receiving gifts. You can't see it here. This is a gift right there. There's gifts all over the place, and each I've been a plant scientist for years, and really most of the plants that I have in my collection, whether it be orchids or other plants, there's stories behind them, and so I look at the plants and I can remember the stories and I can remember that history, and at least it's fun for me. All right, that's all I have for today. I hope you enjoyed my video of my orchids and some of the stories associated with them. If you did, you want to keep on seeing them, it would help me out if you can click on like, share, and subscribe to my channel if you're not already a subscriber. All right, that's all I have for today. Again, I hope you enjoyed it, and happy propagating.